Let's start this Chin Music by congratulating Roy Smalley on a great career. He finished his career with the Minnesota Twins, winning a World Series title. He stayed in town, became a Twins broadcaster. One of the best baseball analysts I've ever heard. Just so he gave us what I always want from our analysts, somebody who can see something that the average person can't see and explain it to us. Now Roy has announced that he's retiring from broadcasting. I hope he's not going to retire from this podcast. We'll see how that goes with his lifestyle. But hey, Roy, I just want to say congratulations, and it's been great. It's been great having you on the podcast. I will miss you on the broadcasts.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate that. It was a tough decision. I've been, as I said in my little statement that I put out there yesterday, I've been considering this for a little while. Sometimes you just have to recognize that it's time to do some other things that don't require quite so much time when you get to my point in life. So I'm going to miss it a lot. Have no plans to bail on the podcast here. As long as you guys will have me, then I'm looking forward to this, because I do think that with you and LaVelle, we talk about some good baseball stuff. So I'd like to keep that going.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that. So congratulations to Roy. We're going to talk a little more about Roy's career. We'll get to some Twins topics. This is Chin Music. This is our baseball show at talknorth.com. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios, and we're presented by Giggly THC Beverages and OnX Hunt. Thanks also to Clamshell Beach Resort, Minnesota Masonic Charities, and Chew Vision Institute. The lineup today, of course, Roy Smalley, LaVelle E. Neal, baseball and other columnists for the Minnesota Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan, also from the Star Tribune. If you like the show, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen, and we do appreciate it. Check out the rest of the lineup at talknorth.com. We do have the best sports staff in town, as well as the best outdoor stuff in town. Roy, what will you miss about actually being in the booth? What was your favorite part of that job?
Well, I think there's a two-part answer to that, actually, Jim. In the larger sense, first, I guess, the macro sense. This is a game that I have loved my entire life. Since I was 5 years old, it's what I wanted. I wanted to play it, and after I was done playing it, it was fun to talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to do baseball analysis, because I know that the more people understand about the game, the smarter they become about what's going on in the game, the more they like it. And I want people to like. I've always wanted people to like the game the way I like the game, or love the game. And I felt like if I could bring some ideas and some thoughts and some education. Maybe I don't want to, make too big a word, use too pretentious a word, but just if I could be a teacher about what's going on, and people would continue to like it more and more. That was really, my main motivation. And on a more micro sense, I mean, I loved the spontaneousness of baseball, stuff that's happening that I could see, maybe anticipate what was going to happen, whether it was a pitch or whether it was what a hitter was thinking or what a manager was thinking about a matchup, or anything like that. So I love the spontaneity and the thought process about the game unfolding and what might happen, what did happen, and why it happened. And so I guess those are the two motivations for me.
And I do think baseball is different. LaVelle can weigh on this as well. It's, people cover the NFL because it's popular, and it's a great sport. It's fun. It's immediate. It's dramatic. People love the athleticism of basketball players. People love the grind of the hockey player. But baseball, I feel like, is its own world. It's almost separate from sports in that it's not just about winning and losing, at least for me and for you guys, I'm assuming. It's about storytelling. It's about history. It's about nuance. It's understanding that you very well any team could go on a 4-game losing streak at any time, and the season's so long that you don't have to panic. It doesn't have to be the emotionally riveting experience that football is, where every loss feels devastating, every victory feels like some huge triumph. Baseball is really more about the flow and the people and the stories. And, that's why you need people like you in the booth, people who get that, who aren't just, talking about just the win and loss.
Well, I'll tell you, Bart Giamatti, former commissioner, who was commissioner for too short a time, died of a heart attack, and it's way before his time. He was a great commissioner. He was a great scholar. He loved baseball, and he said some of the best things about it. And one of the things that he said was he loved sitting out in stands and just becoming a part of the rhythm of baseball, and that goes again. It's on the a micro sense. It's at the game, and just how how pastoral and how even and smooth the rhythm of the game goes. But it also gets to that whole rhythm of a homestand and a month and a season, and it is just a whole different rhythm there is in any other sport. And some people would call that rhythm boring or slow, and that's why it's not, although they've made great strides in speeding up the game, and I think they should have done that. But even with the games being a bit shorter, if the more you know about it, about the game, the more comfortable you are, and even that rhythm, which is such an important part of the game.
LaVelle, why don't you weigh in with a question or comment here?
Yeah. The thing about baseball is that, to me, it's the tie that binds our summers, because it's every day and you have something fresh to talk about on a daily basis. I mean, you can kvetch about what's going on with the Vikings for like 6 days and end up kind of repeating the same stuff over and over again. But with baseball, there's something fresh every day to discuss during the season. Lineup construction, moves during games, who's hot, who's cold, who should the Twins be trading for, all that stuff. I think helps people get through the summer, and that's what makes it stand out to me among the other major sports. The one thing I got out of Roy's announcement is that he was 72 years old. I had no idea that Roy was that old. I still remember it was about 7 or 8 years ago. The Twins were in Toronto, and believe it or not, I actually walked into the gym to exercise, and Roy's in there, and he's got the leather lifting gloves that don't have any fingers. He's got a shirt on, but the sleeves are kind of cut, so he's showing off his guns. And I'm like, man, this guy looks like he can still get in the cage right now, and you still do. So I was surprised that you're 72, man, because you wear it well.
Oh, thank you, LaVelle. I appreciate that. Can that be the last time we talk about that?
Yeah, we will not mention your age or my age. I just to weigh in here, I'm 61, and my goal is to live like Roy Smalley, to be looking good and still exercising and enjoying good food and everything else at the age of 72. So you're an example for the rest of us to follow. Let's put that, and we will end that part of the conversation with that. We'll talk a little more about Roy and some of his favorite stories. We'll get some news stuff. We'll have our Booze and Blues segment at the end of the show. Right now, we'd like to tell you and welcome Giggly THC Beverages. Want to keep the party going without next day regrets? Say hello to Giggly THC Beverages, your new social sidekick for good vibes and even better taste. No alcohol, no bad decisions, just THC-infused cocktails, seltzers, and teas packed with natural ingredients and superfood extracts like ashwagandha and ginseng. Whether you're clinking cans at a backyard bash or just chilling with friends, Giggly's got you covered. Ditch the hangover, sip something smarter. You can find Giggly THC Beverages at over 500 locations, including Total Wine, MGM, Cub Foods, Top 10, and many more. And because we think you're going to love it, we're offering 50% off your first order with the code GIGLYNORTH, GIGLI North. Shop now at GIGLI.com. That's giggly.com. No alcohol, no hangover, just giggles. Also want to thank one of our newer sponsors at TalkNorth.com. Here's Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
And finally, a Minnesota company doing great work around here, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
All right, LaVelle, why don't you give us an ownership update?
Yeah, I actually had a story in the paper today. I wanted to walk the readers through the process and how this can play out. And they're kind of out of the first phase into the second phase. The first one was kind of identifying who's actually interested, and they got a bunch of calls, and they reached out to some people to gauge their interest as well. And so now, I think in the coming weeks, probably next month, they're going to start kicking around numbers. And this won't be the final offer, but they'll start exchanging some numbers or what's it going to take to make the transaction happen. And then sometime in March, then they'll whittle down the list to the best 3 or 4 contenders for the team and then start asking for final best offers. But they're on track. They believe they're on track to identify the winning bid by late March, early April, which is around opening day. So now it's a little bit faster than they thought. But once that happens, there's still a whole different vetting process and character references and all this stuff that Major League Baseball has to enact. And they have to meet with the owner has to meet with the ownership group and see them face to face and answer whatever questions they have. And so that process will take a couple months. So as I pointed out, I think they're on track to have the whole thing wrapped up by sometime in May, perhaps early June. But they're happy with the interest that they've been getting. And it's been widespread. I mean, the Ishbia brothers have been reported as someone who's interested in the team. They own a small piece of the White Sox, which would have to be sold for them to purchase the Twins. Since that's been known, which has been pretty funny, is that some people in Chicago are begging them to buy out Jerry Reinsdorf and just take over the White Sox. So it figures if there's going to be a hiccup here, it'll be White Sox related or someone from the AL Central. But they got interest from as far west as California in this one. So, and I've talked to a few people who I thought would be interested and are not in the team, they've been receiving calls. Like the prospective buyers have been reaching out to people locally to talk to them about what's Minneapolis like, what's the political climate, what's it been like in the aftermath of the 2020 season, everything that went on there. They're doing their due diligence on the area. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes right now as this process is moving forward. But I think it's safe to assume that they'll have a new owner in place by June. Would that be enough to double the payroll before the trade deadline? I don't know, but it looks like they'll have a new owner by June.
And give us an update. It looks like the Twins did pretty well in the international signing period.
Yeah, they signed a bunch of guys. I found a kid from Haiti, which I never knew for that much of a baseball hotbed. But they took advantage of all the teams that are trying to save money to throw at Rory Sasaki. The finalists are the Padres, the Dodgers, I believe the Blue Jays. I could be wrong there. But because those teams are trying to save as much money as possible to throw at Sasaki, they've had to renege on agreements with some of their other players. And, in the international signing period, these kids are signing when they're 16, and there's rumors that teams have agreements with these kids when they're 13 or 14 and just stash them until he turned 16. So to renege on an agreement, with a teenager, you're talking about tearing up something that's gone back maybe a year or two or three. But the Twins, it looks like the Twins did pretty good in terms of a group of players they brought in. They were able to flip one of the prospects that had a deal with the Dodgers that fell through, and sign him, and he was highly thought of. So that kid's name was Serrano. I can't remember his last name. They flipped a kid named Serrano. Talion Serrano, outfielder from the Dominican Republic, is the player that the Twins flipped from the Dodgers. Plus, they signed a couple of kids that were ranked in the top 25 international players available. So it looks like a good group. You just don't know until you won't know for 6 or 7 years once they reach the majors. But on the hoof, it looks promising.
Yes. All right. Let's get to more with Roy and baseball in general. But I want to really get back to talking about with Roy. Also, we'll do our booze and blues segment here in a second. Reminder, we're brought to you by Onyx Hunt, and they want you to know that ice fishing is here, and it's time to hit the frozen water with Onyx Fish. The Fish app is the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your confidence on ice. Use Onyx Fish to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potentials. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. For a limited time, download Onyx Fish for free in Minnesota and Wisconsin, or go to onyxmaps.com/fish to get more information on the app that is changing the game on ice. We also want you to hear from John Krasinski on Chew Vision Institute.
Yeah, Chew Vision in Bloomington. I was talking to someone at the Timberwolves game against the Hornets, and they were asking me about it. And they had also had LASIK surgery as well, and it was, the term that we both have used, and I've used it on the show, is life-changing. It really is. And you're going to roll your eyes at it. Maybe if you're wearing contacts and eyeglasses, you're going to say, yeah, right. I did the same thing. I was skeptical of it. I was like, it can't be that good. But I went to Chew Vision. I visited with the nicest, most friendly staff there that put me through the paces, got me to the right answer and the right option for my vision correction, and then got me to Dr. Chew, who did an unbelievable job with the surgery itself. It does make your life so much easier, not having to go in every year, every 2 years for new glasses and new contacts, spending hundreds of dollars, getting the eye exam, trying to find what's the fashionable frames nowadays. All of those things. It's a headache. And I do not have that anymore because I got LASIK at Chew Vision. It took me not even half of a day to recover from the surgery. And by the time I woke up the next morning, I was seeing clearly and crisply, and everything was great. So go into Chew Vision or go to chewvision.com to set up your consultation and tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you.
Hi, it's Scott for Aquarius Home Services, wishing you a happy new year. Is your furnace hanging on by a thread or just flat out refusing to cooperate? Don't worry. Winter's got nothing on us. If your furnace needs a little New Year's motivation, we're offering $98 off any furnace repair. A worry-free furnace is just a click away at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended and keeping you warm and cozy all winter long.
Let's go back to Roy's life and career. Roy, just kind of take us through your playing in your latter years as a major league player. You'd been an all-star. You're with the Twins. They win a World Series. You contributed to that victory. And then you decided to stay in Minnesota. I'm always fascinated. You're from Southern California, and you decided to stay here in the winters and build the rest of your career here. Just take us through your thought process and how that's played out for you.
Wait, isn't that what people do? Don't you go from California to the Midwest? When
No.
Actually, no, it's not what happens.
Oh, okay. So for me, my wife was from here, and I had played 9 of my 13 years in the big leagues here in Minnesota, including the last 3 of my career. And my kids were in school here. I had I think a second grader, and then my twin girls were in a preschool program, and we had established family. My wife's family roots here. We won the World Series on my 35th birthday. It was a community event unlike any other. It was so much a team and combination win there. And people had adopted me, that they treated me, have always treated me, so well in Minnesota. And all those things add up to, why would I leave? Weather's not enough to say, to counteract all those other things. And on top of that, obviously there are a lot of great places in the country to live. There are a lot of great places to raise a family. We felt really, really comfortable with desirous of raising our kids in the Twin Cities. So there's I know it sounds a little weird for a county to have to endure the winters that I've had to endure over the end, and I still don't like them. I'm not a skier, I'm not a snowmobiler, people say get out and enjoy it. I'm still too California for that, but I'm Minnesotan enough to get through them and really love it in Minnesota.
And it's fascinating. So many players from those 87 91 teams did make homes here. Gladden settled here. Randall McDaniel, who's from Arizona, John Randall, who's from Texas. So many great athletes have stayed in town. And it really, and you guys still, you're on the 87 team, but those 87 and 91 World Series teams, those are the last prominent men's sports championships from Minnesota teams. What's it been like to be in that fraternity?
Well, was phenomenal. I have to tell you that I may have told you this quick little story before, but this kind of summed it up for me at the time, and I still think about this and laugh about it. But before Game 1 of the World Series, we're at home in the Metrodome, of course, and Gary Gaetti and I just happened to be walking, down the long flight of stairs before the game to go out, loosen up, and get ready for batting practice and all that. And we walked up onto the playing surface and looked around. Of course, they had the red, white, and blue bunting all put up, like for all World Series and all that. But also, people had already gotten into the stadium and put up big signs, big sheets, bed sheets. It looked like that they had written these signs: "Make us losers no more." And another one said, "Take the monkey off our backs." And I turned to Gaetti and I said, "Holy cow, Rat! I just thought we were playing baseball. I didn't know we were playing for the collective psyche of the whole state." And that's the way it felt. I think that was palpable, and I think it was part of the celebration. It was part of the reason why it was such a huge deal. If they win another one, it'll be a huge deal. But the first one, after people being so disappointed in the Vikings' 4 Super Bowl losses, which I disagree with being disappointed. By the way, I thought the Vikings had great teams. Not too many people, make 4 Super Bowls in the time that they did. I didn't think that made anybody in Minnesota a loser. But I'm really proud and happy that we were able to take that monkey off their backs, if that was in fact the case.
And I assume that you for a long time, you probably couldn't buy a beer in this town. it's not only did you win every World Series victory is an incredible triumph, but the way you guys did it, worst to first, overcoming a team that had the reputation of having choked a few years before, winning the first one in state history at a major level, and doing it in a great series too, in Game 7. I mean, I imagine the aftermath of that was pretty epic.
Well, it was. I mean, that's a hangover that exists to this day. You know, I mean, and it's it's just it's a wonderful glow that I think, you know, the first one and then the second one will just accentuate it, and I think it's gonna stay here a long time. It's why I have tended over the years to when I'm out in the public to wear the championship ring that we all got, because it feels like a community ring, and if everybody wants to see it all the time, and you know, and if I'm out and someone will stop me and ask for an autograph or just want to talk about some things, and they have kids with them, I'll let the kids, you know, put the ring on and see how they look with a world championship ring on their finger. I mean, it's just such a community thing. I went for a while thinking, you know, this looks like I'm just trying to draw attention to myself, and so I didn't do that for a while. And you know, people kept saying, you know, where's the ring? Where's the ring? So I wear it. I wear it proudly, but I wear it being proud of the community that helped deliver it, for sure.
And we've seen that. We've done live shows, LaVelle, Roy, and myself, and Roy wears that ring, and people come up and see it. And Roy's very generous with letting him see it. It's really a cool thing. All right, LaVelle, any other Twins or baseball updates you want to give us before we get to Booze and Blues?
Well, the only thing I can think of is that the season's damn near here. I mean, next week we've got the Winter Caravan, we've got the Diamond Awards a week from Thursday, and then Twins Fest. And pitchers and catchers report in less than a month, guys. This is crazy.
I know.
It's amazing how once you get into the new year, the whole baseball clock starts to speed up, you know. And so, you know, Phil Miller sent me a picture of the Star Tribune compound house. It looks fantastic, right by the ballpark in Brookshire. So I'm looking forward to getting a few days down there to report about the team and opine about the team. So baseball's here, folks. We're in the meat grinder now.
And if you subscribe to the Star Tribune, we will have a big, you know, Bobby Nightingale, great beat writer, Phil Miller, great writer. LaVelle and I will go down to help with coverage. We're going to have, you know, you have it good. Take me out of it. The people we have covering baseball are excellent. Highly recommend subscribing to Star Tribune if you want to follow baseball in this town. All right, I'm going to start off the Booze and Blues segment with a weird one. I'm not going to talk about an artist. I'm not going to talk about a liquor. I'm going to say that something very strange happened. My wife went to a wine tasting. We live in the North Loop. She went to a wine tasting class, and they did a bunch of blind tests. And you guys, and then Stacey brought the blind test home with me and tried them on me. And I never really believed that wine glass could make that big a difference in the flavor of a wine. It actually does. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not talking about real expensive wines. I'm talking about, you know, mid-range kind of everyday drinking wine. You pour it into one glass that's made for a certain kind of, like, let's give an example. Let's say you like Chardonnay, and you drink Chardonnay out of a wine glass that is made for a red wine. It's not going to taste as good. It's going to have a strange aftertaste. You're not going to smell it as well. Then you do the same blind test, put it in the wine glass that was actually meant for. It tastes fantastic. The difference, and I'm not a wine snob at all. I've never been a wine snob, but I prefer good wine. I prefer the wine to taste good to tasting bad. The difference is between something you wouldn't spend money on and something you feel lucky to have spent money on. I'm stunned. So if you like wine, or if you think you like wine but you can never find the right one, investigate buying the right kind of glass for the wine you drink. It will make a massive difference.
Okay. So that's why people wanted me to get a Chardonnay glass and a Merlot glass. Now, Merlot glass is a little bit wider than the Chardonnay glass, I believe. There must be something to it.
It improves the smell. It improves the flavor. It improves the finish.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. LaVelle, do you have a Booze or Blues segment for us?
So
Roy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, red wine and particularly the deeper and stronger and more bold the red wine, it needs the air. It comes out of the bottle and it needs to,
Yes.
as they say, it needs to breathe. And you swirl it around, and the more air that gets to it as you drink it, the big bowl that you pour, that's a red wine glass. You pour that in there, and it just lets all the character, all the flavor come out with that. For me, I think it has more character and better flavor as the temperature subsides a little bit. But it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't like the big bowl. It doesn't want that much that much air. It doesn't want that much room. It's a real compact kind of sets of flavors and noses. So anyway, that's just my little spiel about that.
Yeah. LaVelle, did you have something for us?
The Dakota's on a roll right now with blues bands. Friday, they're going to have Little Ed and the Blues Imperials, a band that I recognize out of Chicago, and they were in town Friday, led by slide guitarist Ed Williams. So that's quality entertainment to be had at the Dakota on Friday. And then next Wednesday at the Dakota, they're going to have, where's it at here? John Tavius Willis, he's a Southern blues man who's kind of in the mold of Muddy Waters and B.B. King, and he's going to be at the Dakota on Wednesday night. So if you're looking to get your blues fix on, Dakota should be a sponsor here. The Dakota
Yes.
bar will be able to scratch that itch for you.
Good stuff. Love good Chicago blues, and I like you bringing that to the table. Okay, so Roy is gone. Roy's on vacation, and we didn't want to keep him too long. One more time, LaVelle, I've always felt blessed to have Roy hanging around the ballpark. Great storyteller, great source of information, great guy to talk to, great guy to hang out with. We've done live shows with him. He's always been a blast. He's always been incredibly generous with his time and his thoughts. If you ever run into him in public, he loves talking baseball. He loves talking about the Twins. He loves being a Minnesotan. So, congratulations to Roy on his retirement. I'm sad he won't be on the broadcast anymore. I'm thrilled. He sounds willing to continue doing podcasts here. He'll still bring his insights here. So Today, go ahead, LaVelle, you have something?
No, I was just saying, here to that. I mean, he's a gift to this area, and he talks hitting as well as anyone in town, and it's always great to hear his breakdowns. And the things he say, have cut through generations. Basic tenets of hitting that he employed when he was playing still matter today, and that's he is a gift to this community.
No doubt about it. So congratulations to Roy. Congratulations to us, because Roy's still going to be here. If you want his insights, you know where to check it out. Chin Music at talknorth.com.